I look down the pipe there and I'm like, man, I know he's about to hit this curb, but I don't think we should. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not trying to change the sport or fix the sport, but like...
Sounds like you might be.
No, yeah. Oh, you're going to have a great time in Adelaide. Watch out for turn 8.
That was pretty good.
You did piss me off, and I have a screenshot on my phone of the graphic that you tagged me in.
Oh.
It says caution left foot breaker. Well, and it was at that moment I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm right foot braking.
Oh no! He's in the fence! The man's in the fence! All in the fence! Oh, unbelievable!
Sound check.
Sound check.
Nailed it. Sound check.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Good to be here.
Well, we better introduce our guest. It was just by pure chance. We were down at the pub and this guy overheard us talking supercars today, and he's over from America, knew a little bit about the sport. Turns out we got to chatting. He's won the Daytona 500 as a rookie, Xfinity Series champion, had a win in the Cup Series this year as well at Dega. But Austin Cindric, mate, welcome to the show and welcome to Australia.
Yeah, good to be here. Just happened to see a couple of guys talking supercars in the pub. Yeah, that's totally what happened.
Yeah, no, exactly. I did maybe slide into your DMs, and I've known you for a very long time now, really, back Penske days when I was driving for DJR, Team Penske, and when you were coming out here. Elliot and I were doing a pod the other night. We said, hey, we should definitely see if Austin's in town and wants to have a chat.
15 or 16 the first time we met.
Yeah.
We've known each other a while.
We're talking tonight saying how fast it goes, 10 years. Yeah.
It's a long time.
Getting pretty old now.
Bam, here we are.
And you're still in your 20s, 27?
27, yeah. I've just gotten to late 20s.
Yeah.
27 equals late 20s. I'm basically old.
Well, you don't look a day past 26, mate, so that's
Appreciate that. The glasses don't help me. I lost vision about 2-3 years ago, and it's gone downhill since. Everything hurts. I have to stretch all the time. It's good.
2-3 years ago, because you actually did start wearing glasses, didn't you, Annie? I saw an article about that. Is that actually true?
Yeah, no, pretty recently. Like, I just kind of was driving around and realized I couldn't read what street signs said, and it's like, okay, I should go get that looked at, and sure enough, can't see.
Yeah.
And turns out when you drive race cars, being able to see things far away is important.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's made me any better or worse as a race car driver, but it definitely helps. So it's funny how many people come up to me and like, I guess there's definitely a stigma with like glasses that it makes you look like a nerd or whatever else. I've never really cared about those types of things, but like how many people are like really self-conscious about having to wear glasses, and like people are like, oh, you wear glasses when you drive race cars or you don't care that you wear them. Like that helps me like want to wear my glasses and not feel bad about it. So it's kind of been cool to hear that. I know that's kind of a small piece, but yeah, I still forget that I have glasses, though. I'll leave my house and they'll still be sitting on my nightstand. I did it yesterday coming down to the hotel room.
Right.
I had to go all the way back up to the 23rd floor or whatever and get my glasses and come back down. So yeah.
All right. It's interesting you say about the importance of your eyesight, which we all know, but Marcus Ambrose, we'll probably put this one out before we do the Marcus pod, but we did record one with him earlier in the week, and he said one of the things he noticed on the ovals, well, he thought a skill that you guys have is being able to read the tarmac on an oval and being able to position the car. And he said he actually thought it was the eyesight. It was like, he's like, one thing I had to try and learn was being able to see things better or pick up things on the racetrack as the track evolved. I'll
actually, the real story about me getting glasses is 100% that. That is 100% the truth. Reading the racetracks is super important. And we were in Nashville in 2023, and it got to where we had rain, and it was initially going to be a day race. And I had like a light smoke visor on, and rained enough to where the race restarted at night. I didn't change the visor, and Nashville's a concrete racetrack, so it's kind of a lighter gray, but concrete racetracks definitely build a lot more rubber, and kind of contrast to most other forms of motorsport. Like in a NASCAR race, when rubber gets laid down, similar like dirt racing, when rubber gets laid down, it actually takes away grip. So you're always kind of hunting for where there's fresh pavement, fresh asphalt, fresh concrete. And it got to where between having the dark visor, my vision not being so good, like everything just seemed gray, and I couldn't figure out where to place my race car. And when I'm talking about race car placement, like we're talking half tire widths to generate 2-3 tenths of lap time. And that was kind of my wake up call that I needed, because then I lifted my visor up so I could, it wasn't as dark. But then, with the current Cup car, like you inhale a lot of fumes. So then I became nauseous. It's like, okay, do I want to be nauseous or do I want to be able to see where I'm going? And then I lost brakes, and then this whole thing happened. But anyway, so then I went to the eye doctor, got glasses the next week, showed up at Atlanta with glasses, because, it's just that important. I mean, just that little bit of performance is super important.
Yeah, it surprised us when he said that. Hey, I didn't think that was.
And you're driving so fast too. Like, you're quite often 200 mile per hour, really, really fast. So yeah, I'm tipping it's important to see where you're going.
Well, and you have to plan so far ahead on ovals. You know, your car placement on entry of the corner, you know, affects it, you know, 10 seconds later on the other side.
Yeah. What did you think of? So we have come from Sandown today. We do a debrief podcast after most of the events, and it was opportune that you were in town, and you're here with Tickford Racing, preparing for the Adelaide 500. But Sandown was our final knockout of the format. Final series. We've got our final four now.
Yep, brought it down to final four. What was your take, mate, on it? You've been to a supercar race before, though, right?
This was the first weekend I've actually been to a race meeting.
Well, there you go. So give us your thoughts on your first supercar weekend. What do you think?
Well, I think Sandown's cool because it's definitely more along the lines of like a historic traditional racetrack. It'd be kind of like going to like maybe a Martinsville or a Darlington or something like that, something that's been around for quite some time. So, and those are the tracks where you typically get your hardcore race fans that are always going to show up no matter rain or shine, what the day is. And I mean, today was cool because, I mean, maybe not for the drivers that are in the race, and it's funny to be on the other side of it because normally when you're a driver, you want the weather conditions to be consistent and everything to be predictable and just go out and try and beat everybody. But, you know, qualifying with everything being so important and on the line, like the weather changed 3 or 4 times and seeing and hearing and listening what goes into those decisions. And then obviously in the race, so the weather got, you know, pretty hectic. So I found myself fairly entertained, even if the race at the end wasn't, you know, as nip and tuck and as close as it might be. But obviously a tough weekend for the team I'm sitting in with. You know, those guys have been really strong all year, and obviously Cam and Thomas didn't have a stellar weekend, not enough to move on to Final Four, but no, it was good to see it all, and you know, from my perspective, you know, preparing for this wild card opportunity in Adelaide, just to kind of sit back and like really absorb what are the different things that I'm going to have to add to kind of my race day process, and what's going to be normal for me to go out and this to be a kind of a seamless transition into what's a super competitive series.
Was it what you expected, mate, from I guess how technical it was? You've obviously sat on some pre-briefs, debriefs with the team. Was it what you expected? Was it above, below? Where do you place it?
Well, I think more than ever, there's so many things about the current NASCAR Cup Series car and the Gen 3 Supercar. You know, the series have never been more aligned. And it's funny when you listen in and hear, you know, and anytime you whether if it's, you know, different types of racetracks, different types of cars, tires, drivers, how similar all your problems are.
Needs more turn, needs more drive.
The excuse book's pretty
can't
much
get in the
same.
corner well enough. It doesn't steer well enough in the center, and you can't get off. You know, it is a lot of the same issues and how you solve those issues. But compared to the NASCAR Cup Series, you have so much more access to data and live timing and telemetry and in a lot of different ways. So and on top of that, being able to, you know, make proper changes throughout the race weekend. You know, oftentimes our cars are impounded, you know, before we ever even do a lap on the racetrack. So I think that in and of itself, it kind of opens up a lot of different windows of thought for me throughout the weekend, you know, as I go to Adelaide and kind of listen, and, you know, even making changes in the middle of qualifying to certain things. So, but as far as that goes, it was cool to see what everybody prioritizes, and whether how same or how similar or how different to what I'm used to.
When was the last time you would have been able to make in-session changes to tune a car to what you are looking for? Because now you were saying tonight, I asked you, actually, this is probably something we should talk about, is we had a lot of questions if we could speak to someone in NASCAR, what happened with the tyres, and is that, you know, with them failing at the final event, is that because you guys have setups that need to be locked in prior to the event, not being able to change them across the weekend? If it's cambers and things like that, you might get wrong. But when was the last time you had a car you were allowed to tune? And then can you actually explain a little bit about what it looks like in the Cup Series when you arrive to a race weekend with setup?
Yeah, so Phoenix actually was one of the few times that we got to have like a 50-minute practice session, and not have the cars impounded. I feel like the only times we get to have that is when we have kind of wholesale changes, whether if NASCAR changes the aero package or makes a large tire change, or if it's an important weekend like the championship weekend, those things will happen. So we'll have like a proper Friday practice, and then its inspection isn't until Saturday. But our normal race meetings usually consist with us showing up on Friday. The cars goes through inspection, and once it passes inspection, you're allowed to tune ride heights, you're allowed to tune cross weight, front and rear anti-roll bars, and front toe. and that's it.
Yeah.
And some shot clicks. So there's a number of things, but none of them are overly impactful. Because when you look at the things that are going to be important, like cambers and how that relates to how you're stressing the tire and you can't change springs. Those are locked down. That's Somali. Like, we have to make the most important decisions for our race car and race setup. We have to make those decisions on Wednesday before the car leaves the race shop. And I think that's what really separates some of the challenges that the team members have. And oftentimes it can be frustrating with that format, because you get done with practice and you write your debrief, and then you turn it into the team, and then you get done on Sunday, and then you realize you're writing down all the same things that you wrote on Saturday, because your car is essentially the same.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot different, but it really pushes you to take risks. I mean, at the end of the day, we have so many races that, sometimes they are, end up being just as much important for that race meeting as they are for the next one. So it just pushes you to just go for it and see what happens. That's why you see, guys failing tires, because, you just got to go. I mean, the series is too competitive to be behind. But it's, it all kind of really started with kind of the COVID racing we did with not having any practice and just unloading and going for races. So that kind of became the norm when, as an industry, we realized we could do it without practice if we needed to. So it's been interesting to have that. I think there's sometimes like I'm going to go test Haley and Bend, for 2 days before I go race Adelaide. I can't think of a time that I did a 2-day test in the last 10 years.
Wow.
Like, to get ready for a race weekend. I mean, that's like, NASCAR, we don't have any testing. The only testing we do have is for Goodyear for tire testing, which you try and turn that into something for yourself. But at the end of the day, it's, half the time you probably don't even show back up on the same tire that you did all the testing with.
Right.
But the fact that I'm going to get to go and really kind of get comfortable with the car and make some changes and really learn what I'm all for, hopefully for me, for this experience coming up, like, I'm only going to be showing up and learning the track, when I get to Adelaide, instead of learning the track, learning the car. Like, that is one of the things that makes it so hard for guys to just jump in and try and do a NASCAR race too. Yeah. Like, if you see guys come over from Supercars and go do a Cup Series race, like, that's all the time you get. You 20 minutes of practice. Go qualify.
I think Will did everything sim, and then said Will Brown, when he went, he said it was mostly sim, and then when he arrived, the category was oversubscribed as well. So he said, I couldn't even make a mistake in qualifying because I wouldn't have gone through. So he said, I pretty much drove around terrified, like, everything's on the line, all the finances and everything have come to make this happen. Yeah. And he said, so to do a one-off race is so hard over there.
Yeah, no, it's a tough series to integrate with. I mean, no different than I think it's going to be for me to try and integrate with the Supercars Championship, just because it is so competitive, and you're doing it every week, and these guys are at the tail end of their season, best of the best right now. So I definitely know what I'm in for, I think.
Do you think it would be sustainable to have? We've talked tonight about we've had Easter weekend off this year. And this is effectively your off season anyway. You said mid-Jan, you're back to work like full time again. Do you think it would be sustainable for you now to be racing with practice like it was pre-COVID in NASCAR? Or do you think it's going to be a lot more enjoyable, your career? I guess I'm saying, what would be better? Would you prefer it was like it used to be, or do you think it's better now for a driver and the crew members and everyone?
Yeah, I think there's a happy medium. I think the grass is always greener because I think it'd be nice to have some opportunity to like kind of tune on the cars. I think that would help, all the teams, not just the smaller teams, but also the bigger teams. But I think the ability, like, we don't run with live data or telemetry on the cars either. I think that's a big thing. Like, we do, talk about Will Brown doing, sim work. Like, we do a ton of work and rely a ton on simulation, offline simulation for all of our, setup changes. And that's just because we have to. Yeah. So those tools have been developed because those are the only options. So I think anytime you can get live at track data is super important, because although at the race meetings, the NASCAR Cup Series is very much Wild West, whether if that's from a driver standard standpoint, from managing fuel mileage. I mean, it's basically an Excel sheet, and you just plug in, what throttle percentage, was just run the last lap, and it's based off of some dyno data from months ago. It's all very crude and, like I said, kind of Wild West in every sense of the word, that it's very much the human element on the race meetings. It'd be nice to have some data to put behind it. But to your point about the schedule, I mean, my last off weekend was Easter. And before that, I started Rolex 24 in January, but we start first week of February. So it's really kind of the holidays and then, first couple weeks of January, and then you're pretty much back on. So, but at the end of the day, if you're someone like me, if you're going to give me a chance to drive a race car, that's why I'm here. Like I love what I do, and people, have families, and it's probably harder on the race team people, because at the end of the day, like, I have the coolest job in the world. It's much easier to justify that when I'm going to do something as outrageous as driving race cars for a living. But
not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. So I don't feel like it's justifiable for me to complain about the schedule. But yeah, for anyone that works on it and has to grind through the season, and maybe doesn't feel as though each week they can make an impact, depending on what your position is or who you are. I can totally understand wanting a little more time off. Next year we have 2 off weeks, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But
huge. Wow. 2 weeks.
No, it's huge. I mean, because our summer stretch this year was rough, and for someone like myself, like we have a lot of corporate sponsors at Team Penske, and for whatever reason, most of them have some event or thing going on in the summer, and the only time I have to do events and meetings like that for my sponsors is during the middle of the week, which is the time that's also used to prepare for race meetings. So like, there's a lot of sacrifice, and like, I feel like my month of August through September, even when the playoffs started, I think I was home 3 days, like at my house, slept in my bed only like 3 days for like a month and a half period.
Wow.
And like the most important part of the season too. It's just how it has to be. But like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Are other people with families and things traveling with them to most of these things? Because that must be difficult.
Yeah, and I think that's why you see kind of the family aspect. Like you can look at it both ways. Like, oh man, why is this guy bringing his kid onto the track, and his wife, and they do all this, showing each other off. But like, it's really not that. It's like, it is.
That's the time.
That's the time, to spend with your family in a lot of ways. So like, that's why you see guys traveling to tracks with motorhomes and stuff. It's somewhere for their families to be, so they can actually spend time together. Our free time is in hours and not days. So I think that's where that really comes in, and then you get all the most of the drivers and have kids with similar ages. Obviously, I'm not included, but like kids with similar ages, and families just kind of inevitably evolve to each other. And it is this big community. I mean, racing in every sense of the word is a very small world, but we definitely have our little bubble that is kind of a traveling circus at the end of the day. So
it was like Halloween for the kids. I saw that at one of the races.
Oh,
you
for
guys
sure.
had. It was pretty cool.
No, we had Halloween like at the racetrack in the driver owner lot. Like, I'm sitting there in my camper, that I bring every once in a while, and I get a knock at the door, and I'm just in my underwear. I'm like, who's at my door at like 8:00? Like, no, I don't have candy. You want some raisins? Like, what?
I can give you a bottle of water and some fruit.
Yeah.
Well, if so, this weekend was your first experience at a supercar race. What did you take away from it? What do you think that we do well? And then from your experience, what do you think we could bring from NASCAR out here that you would love to see our sport do?
Yeah, no, it's been, like I said, there's been a lot of parallels, especially the finals format versus kind of our playoff format, which is kind of a whole other topic of conversation, and definitely is in our industry, at least, outside of the industry, probably more than internally. But one thing I've always admired about Supercars is how well they do their broadcasts. It was cool I've obviously watched a lot of races. I've been a fan of the series for a long time, but I think they do a really great job at staying locked in on the sport and the sporting aspect of it, and really explaining to the viewer, okay, we're at Sandown. This is the challenges for these drivers at this racetrack. These are the trends. Let's go watch them execute, and we'll walk you through, how well this guy did or didn't do. I feel like it's really fun for me to watch those races as a hardcore motorsports fan, because you can really get lost in some of the details, because some of the people they have, in their lineup on the broadcast do a great job with that. So for me, I was already kind of like locked in and ready to rip and to enjoy the race. But like I said, it's probably similar to NASCAR, to where it really depends. And we talked about this tonight at the pub too. Like, it really depends on what race you go to what experience you get.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to Daytona, you're going to get a completely different experience than you're going to get at Darlington. No different than if you go to New Hampshire or the LA Coliseum or whatever else. You're going to get a completely different race fan, and no different than like being a race car driver. I'm going to have different fans come up to me and ask me for an autograph. And one track, they're going to be really nice. Like all the race fans at Sandown were super nice. Yeah. Like some of the nicest people I've ever seen ask for an autograph. Like don't want to disturb you. Other tracks we go to, they're grabbing you by the shoulder and say, just hold a book in front of your face with a pen.
Yeah, right.
Like it's aggressive. Like it's just the type of race fan, the type of people you get, what the expectation is, what the vibe is completely different depending on what tracks you go to. And I'm excited to see Adelaide. I thought Sandown was cool. Like I said, I think it was a good warm up for me. But I've heard a lot of great things about Adelaide. I've heard a lot of great things about the city. My parents vacationed there one time when I think in one of the last couple of years of DGR Team Penske. So like they have great things to say about it. So I'm trying to keep my expectations in check, and I'm definitely focused on the race weekend. I have a bad habit of traveling places and not touching grass.
Yeah.
Like I'm just so locked in on what's going on. Like I try and force myself on race weekends in NASCAR to like go try a restaurant on Friday night. Go try something that you can't get at home, because otherwise I'm just going to go like to the Olive Garden and just get chicken and pasta and go straight to bed.
Hey, Scotty, you know how our hunters are always trying to watch races from all over the world, Japan, Europe, USA, but they get that annoying pop-up saying this content isn't available in your region?
Mate, tell me about it.
Well, imagine if they could watch any race they wanted anywhere in the world without any dodgy pop-ups or any buffering.
Well, it's funny you say that, actually. We have a brand new partner on the show who's built exactly for that, NordVPN.
Oh, here we go. Tell me more.
We've actually been using NordVPN whilst we've been on the road creating the content for everyone. It keeps your data safe when you're on those dodgy motel Wi-Fi networks. It hides your location, and it also stops those dodgy ads following you around when you Google something just once.
So if you love your racing like us, or you just want to keep what you do online your own business, grab NordVPN. It's fast, secure, ridiculously easy. Even Scotty figured it out.
Yeah, righto, mate. Well, if you want to get the best deal on your NordVPN plan, head to nordvpn.com/Apex Hunters. Our link will actually get you 4 additional months on top of a 2-year plan. And don't stress, there's a Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So I will pop the link to Nord's website in the description of this podcast.
Sort your online life out, stay safe, and stream like a hunter.
Well, I realised that after COVID, when we were going racing, how many times, because you were given the perspective like this doesn't last forever. Your freedom could literally, you might not be able to go places when you want to. And so after that, when we went back to racing normal, I always made an effort of staying the extra day. And because I realized for 8 years, I'd been to all these cool places and never explored the amazing cities. I was like, and then COVID, we were forced to stay in Darwin for 2 weeks, and it was the best 2 weeks. Like the place is amazing. The things you can do there, seeing the crocodiles. And that was when I went, okay, like I'm going to make an effort now to go to the race weekend and then stay a day or go a day early, because you're right. You just get caught up in going to the racetrack. And I think everyone's a bit like that. My dad was an interstate truck driver. He said, I've traveled all of Australia and I've never actually seen it. Like I've just been to where I'm working and then home again. But we are very fortunate that we get to go to these cool places. So hopefully you do get to see Adelaide. If you're there early as well, heading up into McLaren Vale and going even the Adelaide Hills, and some of the driving roads are pretty amazing. I'm actually going next week for the Adelaide Rally. It's actually, there's some beautiful roads, and it is a cool city. It's a lot smaller than Melbourne, but I think you'll be shocked, I guess, at the fanfare in Adelaide too. The attendance there is massive for us. I think it's one of our biggest events.
It's the best supercar event for sure. I think, in my opinion, I know you feel.
I'm born in Adelaide, so I'm actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm born there. I'm very biased, but I actually think it's one of our coolest tracks as well.
Yeah.
Street circuits in general are. I mean, most of the tracks we go to are street circuits, but I think they're our best track, best circuit. Sorry, is the street circuits.
You got to have a bit of a look at Sandown, mate. You went for a hot lap or a ride with Cam Waters. You're also.
I'm sure it was a hot lap. I'm sure it was hot.
Yeah, it would have been hot. Cam driving for sure. It's Sunday night now. You've actually got the ride day tomorrow, so you're going to get to sample Sandown and your race car tomorrow. What was your first impressions when you jumped in the passenger seat with Cam?
Yeah, I was surprised how big the curbs are. My God. I mean, I've watched enough on board. I knew what I was getting into. Left pit lane. I'm like, all right, there's a little chicane here, and you go up to turn 4, a bit of elevation change. Like, I know what's going on here. We go, turn 1's kind of blind until you exit it, right? And I look down the pipe there, and I'm like, man, I know he's about to hit this curb, but I don't think we should. But I mean, the car it's aggressive, but it didn't upset the car one bit. And it was fun to see, somebody else go to work. And I've never been, some guys are really rough about, riding along or whatever, but I'm sitting there kind of looking at his feet and what's he doing, what's the dash doing in the car and all that. So I was definitely, very interested in what was happening during all that. So it's cool I got to experience that. Some poor bastard is going to have to ride with me tomorrow, and that'd be my first laps in a Gentry Supercar. So and it's probably going to rain too. So that'll be fun to kind of put the fear of God into some people tomorrow. So should be a good time. But it's cool to I've gotten to experience kind of all three sides of it. I got to do the ride along. I've prepared as though I would have participated in the event this weekend as far as some of my prep, and then being in the meetings, but also I watched the start from the front lawn there and walked over to turn one. It started raining and I walked back, but I tried to be a race fan a bit today too. And like I said, touch grass a little bit. Yeah. Cause it's cool. I've never been, I've always wanted to go. I'll always remember when my dad came over here and went to his first Supercars race, and he brought me back a bunch of hats. I had a Mark Winterbottom hat and a bunch of other things, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. It's it's like I said, it's the same but different. It's this kind of just this magical foreign land that does all the same things we do, but it's different. It's like an alternative universe, really. And it's
a good way to put it. It is how it felt when we went to America. It's so good. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, no, it's but it was so cool for me as a kid, and I think as I've come over here and even some of the clips from the Gold Coast, the guys taking the curbs and stuff like that, and the cars flying in the air, other than telling people, even within the NASCAR bubble that are what exactly are you going to race in Australia? I know you're going there, but what are you doing? I'm well, I'm doing what SVG used to do. They're oh, okay. And then they'll send me a clip of oh, have you seen this, this car jump? I'm that's what I'm doing. That's Supercars. That'll be me in a month. That's sick, isn't it? It's yeah, that's all. How do I watch? So the amount of people I've sent the SuperView link to in the last month has been quite funny. But it's a cool championship, and like I said, cool to be here because it's something I wanted to do for a long time.
When you say you're prepared for Sandown, what do you do other than obviously attending the meetings and everything and prep, looking at the circuit itself? What does that look like? Is it sim work you do prior to getting to Australia, or?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely utilize some iRacing just to kind of know where the track is. I think there's only so much sim that you can do to kind of be ready, but just, whether if it's reading all the handbooks about how to operate the car, but also, rewatching previous race events. I got my SuperView subscription. Yep. I paid my $10 for it, so I might as well get the most of it. I mean, even then, I've had some of the race meetings on, just playing in the background in the hauler, just to have something on while we're at the racetrack on Fridays at Cup races, just to kind of integrate with what's going on. But just taking notes, and Frosty's been really great for a great resource for me this weekend. I kind of wish I would have thought of reaching out to him sooner. I mean, even Scott at home, it's been really great for me to kind of pound around some ideas with who to talk to, who to reach out to, what are some best practices, what am I getting into essentially. Yep. Scott's been super engaged. He's texting me every single day. He's way into what I've got going on. And obviously he's been a huge part of our team. So I've got some great resources. I'm going to be here with a great team, but the prep's been fun because it's something different. Yep. I definitely get lost in my prep work, and that's how I feel. That's how I get confidence. When I go racing is to just do absolutely everything that I can do to feel prepared, because once I've done that, then there's no question that, okay, yeah, if I'm not good enough, then I'm not going to be good enough, but it's not going to be because I didn't try.
Yeah.
And that's how I can have a clear head on race day. I hardly ever get nervous. And I think the only times I do feel nerves is when I haven't done enough work.
Yeah. And we all know when we haven't done it.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. There's no hiding from yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. How many Adelaide 500s have you watched then? You must have watched a lot of those, I'm guessing.
I've seen a lot of turn 8 crashes to know, and enough people that have oh, you're going to have a great time in Adelaide. Watch out for turn 8.
That was pretty good.
That was not bad.
That was actually
I've heard it about 12 times just today. So yeah.
I think I said to you today, one thing, turn 8, everyone loves to push the barriers and get through there as fast as they can, but it's a very small gain in lap time when you look at the rest of the lap. So turn 8, it is funny. The problem I find in the race, it changes a lot as the tire rubber is going down and it's getting the marbles on the outside. That's where it catches people out. I think They get a little bit fatigued, and you get one. If you get a foot wide and pick up the marbles, it is literally like hitting an oil slick. It just understeers and you end up.
Because it seems like the corner almost kind of tightens and flattens as it goes. So if you really aren't on point to the apex, it's over.
Yeah.
Have you been there at all before to have a look?
No.
When you walk down there, you'll be like, surely these walls get moved out. Like every year I would go there. I've been there a lot of times. It looks like it narrows up a little bit, and you think it has to be wider than this. It's the narrowest part of the track.
Right.
Yeah,
By a long way.
You always think, how am I doing 225 Ks through here?
I love it.
It's an awesome corner.
It is great. Great feeling when you get out on the other side and you're like, oh, cool. Mate.
Or you fold the mirror back and you
you
just made it is the coolest. Yeah. But qualifying around there, I think you're gonna love it. But it is my favorite track.
Let's tuck into Sandown because we'll debrief that and then we'll pre-brief a little bit of Adelaide and then talk specifically about what you're going to do there, mate. But we dropped it down to the Final Four this weekend. Probably a little bit of a surprise there. So Kai got through. Kai Allen made his way through Final Four. Will Brown made his way through.
Yep.
Chaz got his way through, obviously with the win at Goldie and the win on Saturday. And then Brock won today on Sunday and got through as well. So that's your Final Four. Any surprises?
Really, it come down to one of those Tickford guys just driving like an arse and taking out Matty Payne. No, I think the surprise to me was Matty Payne not making it. But I thought the way Cam drove today was perfect. I think that's what you've got. You're putting on the line to make the finals. And I think Matty Payne, it might have been you that said, it's like, you know what the guy you're racing has to lose. Everyone's program and Cam had nothing to lose at that point. And yeah, I was surprised Matty Payne didn't make it through, but I think the racing today was good in that respect. I think the finals for me has actually been a big tick. I think the way we're doing it with Brock Feeney goes into Adelaide with a 50-point advantage, and rightfully so. I mean, it was looking like Chaz might have gone there with that advantage, but not the case. And I think that Brock now is the champion everyone probably would want to see at the end of the year, given his season. But there were no real surprises. I think Matty Payne's the only one I thought should have maybe made it through, but he didn't have the weekend he needed to, and that's it.
I was a little bit surprised that Cam, if he had the tools under him, would have got through. But similar, like they just unfortunately have the car speed to put him in the positions to fight for a win on Saturday or Sunday. But to your point, love the finals because that created that with Cam racing Matt as hard as he did. That's finals. We saw it at Gold Coast as well with Kai racing Thomas as hard as they did for those final spots. So yeah, I think it's been a big tick.
Well, what about the 5-second penalty? Because you guys race obviously a little bit freer in the States, and some of it I like, some of it I don't. Today, I was not impressed with the 5-second penalty that Cam got. What did you think of that?
Yeah, well, you're asking a guy that needs to learn pretty quickly on what's allowed and what's not because to your point, where I come from is definitely the Wild West when it comes to driving standards, and it's definitely self-policing because we race so often. It's just, hey, if you do this to me today, it's going to happen to you tomorrow. And if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it might be the next day.
Yeah.
It might be the day after that. It might be 3 weeks from now when it becomes really convenient for me to end your day. It's one of those things. But as far as it goes, like it was interesting to hear like Will's interview after the race. Like I didn't even know if he touched him. I was probably going to go straight on anyway. Like, it's you have to get like a lot of perspectives from all that, and I feel like that's where. I don't know, sometimes the grass is always greener, like from our perspective, because like sometimes it's like, man, why can that guy get away with doing that to me every week? Yeah. But then you have this and it's like, okay, who's making the decision? What's it based off of? What camera angle did you see? Yeah. What data points are there? I mean, you had a racetrack there that was one groove, and you had a guy that had the inside line. And the guy that's, from what I understand, listen to, I think it was Garth Tander said something like turn 2 is apparently like the slipperiest corner in racing, in the wet. And like you had a guy that was going to be stuck on the outside. Like he probably wasn't going to make the corner. Yeah. Did they make contact? Probably. But was that going to change the outcome? Probably not. So, you put the shoe on the other foot. That's a difficult position to put the, I guess the scrutineering in or whatever you want to call it, the race directors. I don't know how quickly they have to make those decisions. Is at the end of the day, it probably wouldn't have mattered for Cam with as well as God, what's the guy in the pen right car? Matty Payne. With as well as he ran all day, like he was kind of just covering waters the entire day with his pace, but. Yeah. So it probably wasn't going to matter anyway, but yeah, it's kind of just lops onto the frustration for Cam's weekend. Even Saturday, like Saturday goes better. They're in a much better position for Sunday, and same with Thomas. So it was tough to kind of watch from the sidelines and see that, because I mean that is what the format brings. It's the highest of highs and lowest lows, and the tough part is like if you're not good on the weekend, like that was the only round you had to try and make that happen.
Yeah, like you look at who could have made it this weekend. It's a good point. Like if Anton De Pasquale, He finished second today. Pretty decent yesterday. I don't know. He qualified well. He dropped back a little bit in the 10, I think, but he got a penalty at the Gold Coast for taking out James Courtney. And it was a small mistake. It wasn't anything major, but it resulted in James Courtney going to last pretty much. And then got a penalty for that, and it bumped him out of the finals. You look at this weekend, with the way some of the fortune went for others, he would have been going to Adelaide in the final 4.
Yeah.
Which that team has just become the homologation team for GM.
Yep.
Going forward, they've actually improved massively this season.
Yeah, they've done great.
And I think that would have been a massive upset. I hope you're enjoying this episode, but I do have to interrupt just quickly to thank our fantastic supporters that allow us to create the content for you. East Coast Car Rentals. If you're in the market for a rental car, think of those guys. And if you'd like a cheeky 15% discount, AHU15 is the discount code there for 15% off. If you're in the market to buy a car, not rent one, Lancaster Motor Group, we've got you covered for new or used cars. So think Lancaster Motor Group. Quadlock, fantastic supporter of our podcast as well. We use their products every single day on the pod using their desk mounts here. Also, we've used them to create the additional content like we did the Adelaide Motorsport Festival using their action camera mounts. So whether it's mounts, phone cases, they've got you covered. Quadlockcase.net. Now, the website for all of these brands that support us will be in the description of this podcast. Back to the show. We got a rookie in the top 4, which is probably the biggest shock to everyone.
Huge for Kai.
Not unworthy. He's had a good season, but biggest shock because, we're a rookie finishing top 4 in the championship I don't even know when that would have happened last. The guys.
I think I'm just using Brock as an example. He was 6th, I think, in his first year, and he was one of the best for a while.
Yeah. But at that time as well, not taking anything away from Brock,
cars were different.
Shane won 21 races that year.
Yeah, cars were different.
I'm pretty sure it was 21. Some bullshit. It was ridiculous. So you come in as a rookie in that car, you're probably expected to finish in the top 5 or 6, whereas Matty Payne, I think they're rebuilding that team. And Kai.
Oh, yeah.
What about, do you get much opportunity to test on the different tyres? So the soft and the super soft going into Adelaide, you're going to be on 2 compounds. Do you know if you get to run on them at Tail and Bend?
I think I'll just get to the white sidewall.
Okay.
The soft tire.
Soft.
Yeah, okay, which is the 25 tyre.
Yeah, the blue's
I'm
super
still working
soft,
that
isn't
out.
it? Which is last year's from memory.
Yeah, I still find that confusing, like which ones.
Well, because the super soft is slower
Yeah.
than the soft. Like I learned that this weekend.
Yeah.
The super soft is slower than the soft, but it wears differently. But it is probably softer based off of somebody's notebook.
Yeah. I think that's just what they call it, literally.
Yeah.
Like Shane, he was texting us today.
Tell me blue and white.
Yeah.
Like Shane was like, that's fucking stupid that they called the Saturday tyre, which is faster, slower, super soft. But I asked because I think the races this weekend were very different. And I'm not a big fan of the 25 tyre. I think I would much rather a tyre that has degradation.
That was a hell of a long run to the end of the race.
50 laps, I think some did.
That's a ton of laps.
With no
I know it's a short lap time, but that's a lot of laps.
And
terrible.
Sandowns,
Boring.
you would have seen, you probably did track walk or you'll set them out. Like, it's quite abrasive too. So, like,
If you're going to have fall off, it's going to happen there.
It should shred the tire. Like,
Right.
yeah.
And all we saw really was follow the leader. And Will Brown even caught Anton at the end at a fast rate, took like 8 seconds out of him. And as soon as he got close, the tyre overheated and he couldn't really do a lot with it. Like they said, it was going to be too risky to try and make the pass.
I thought that's someone who was impressive both days with Will Brown. I mean, maybe he's supposed to qualify better than what he did, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 days in a row of just completely driving up through the field in mixed conditions or whatever else. Like, yeah, he's probably expected because of the car that he drives, but I mean, he still put himself in the position of finals where he really, put himself really vulnerable too.
Yep. Well, last year at Adelaide, he turned Brodie Kostecki, I think, he got turned by Brodie. Went back to last and did very much that and actually won the race. Brock Feeney he won, but he got a penalty by 15 seconds, I think. But remember, Will went to dead last, drove all the way through and finished second on the road and actually won the race from last. It's not actually unusual. And even this year, the amount of cars he's passed, because he hasn't had the best qualifying. Mm-hmm. We got a comment, actually, a message from a fan, and I can say there's no strategy involved in him qualifying bad. But the question was, they're like, is he really that bad at qualifying, or there has to be some kind of strategy advantage why he keeps qualifying there? There is definitely not a strategy advantage. It's no one wants to start that far back, but unfortunately that's the way it's going for him at the moment. And I think today's was strategy with when they ran the tyres, because the track, like I was the same as you. I loved it. Someone not competing.
Yeah. And competing, it's a nightmare. But as a race fan, it's like, wow, this is cool. All right.
Yeah, one of the engineers in Triple Eight overheard me today. A mate of mine said, it might be varying conditions. And I said, I fucking hope so. And one of the engineers said, and I'm like, hey, I'm not driving this weekend.
Just drinking coffees over
I
here.
hope it's as hard as possible for all of you. It's fun for us. But yeah, I think Will has at the moment dialed in how to manage the tyre and come through the field, hopefully at Adelaide. Like obviously he's not going to want to be starting that far back because the likes of Brock Feeney at the moment, who's leading the championship, he's going to be qualifying at the front. He needs to as well.
I think for Saturday's race at Sandown, well, both races, it was probably good for the fans that Will did qualify so poorly because he was kind of the only one really coming through the field and actually
if that didn't happen on
put down
Saturday,
passes. Like Saturday, that made the race. Otherwise, it would have been a snoozer. Sunday with the weather, it was there was a bit more excitement and there was guys racing hard. But again, like, you know, Supercars probably lucky that it did happen because, Will caused a lot of the entertainment for us fans just watching with all the passes he was doing.
I know we're not the scale of NASCAR, but Goodyear, they develop tyres for certain tracks, don't they, to try and create good racing, I'm guessing, or
I think the alignment of the drivers, NASCAR and Goodyear has never been closer, and Goodyear's been really aggressive in the last couple of years, and we've asked for it. Like, I mean, we talk about tire failures, and I'm a guy that had a tire failure at Phoenix, and it ended my race, but like we've been able to produce, you know, a lot of what we've wanted from a racing standpoint, and it's paid dividends, and we found good directions in enough to where Goodyear's kind of gone down maybe similar pathways and tried to now converge. Okay, now we don't have 7 different sets of tires for 7 different short tracks. Now it's, you know, we're trying to get down to 1, so it becomes more realistic. But I think that's been fun to kind of see, like, our industry come more aligned than they ever have. And it's easier because now we all have the same cars. Like, whereas in the past, everybody was building their cars and there's, you know, so many different things. So Goodyear just needs to build a tire that doesn't fail and then be done with it. And I think that's kind of how things trended, and they became a bit disassociated. And now I feel like that relationship between, like I said, the NASCAR, the drivers, and the tire manufacturer is a lot more intimate than it used to be.
Yep.
You're never going to get it right, but I'll give them a ton of credit for in very recent years being a lot more aggressive, going outside their comfort zone. I mean, to give you an example, like the short track tire we run now is the compound that was on a rain tire when we ran a rain tire for the first time at North Wilkesboro. I'm sure there's a couple different things about it, but like for the most part, because we went out there, it sprinkled, and we're like, I guess we have all this rain gear on. We're supposed to run in the rain. So, all right, we'll go run on an oval in the rain. So we put rain tires on, and the racing was better. The cars ran closer together, and the racing was better. And like, it was like,
something in this.
We don't care what it is. Just make a slick that's like that, and let's go try it. And with a little bit of hesitation, they're like, I don't know if we can do this. I'm like, fuck, well, just do a tire test. Like, we'll figure it out. And sure enough, like, I think that's a great example of something along those lines that's worked well. But that's all through communication. And sometimes that is one of the good things about, like I said, grass is always greener. I sit here and say that I love a bunch of data, but sometimes it's human driven.
Yeah.
You know, and whether if that's the experience from the race fan, or, you know, the driver giving feedback, the team giving feedback, what do we need? And at the end of the day, like, sometimes you just have to ignore the data a little bit and just go out and try things. Yeah. And I think a good mix of that can really help. And, you know, when it comes to entertainment and what's most appealing to the viewer, and your viewer is going to be different too. You're going to have your hardcore race fans that care a bunch about, you know, the little data pieces, and then you're gonna have your guys that I just want to see him crash. You know, it's always gonna be different. You're never gonna please everybody. But like I said, to answer your question, I feel like that communication, be getting everybody in the same room and just kind of talking it out and being willing to try things, I think is really healthy for the sport.
What do you think makes a good tire? Because you guys have a lot of pit stops, and for us to be able to do 50 laps today with very minimal fall off on what is the highest tire wear circuit we go to is it was a frustrating watch at the end if it wasn't for the rain at the start, which kind of was locked in my memory that this race has been exciting. But then when you actually look back and you go, well, actually there was probably 40 laps at least that probably wasn't the best. What do you think contributes to a good exciting race when it comes to the tires? Yeah,
I'm going to broaden my answer to just saying variance makes great racing. Yep. Whether if that's corner entry speed and exit speed, you know, if I get a good exit, I want that to matter for 100 yards down the pipe. Like, I want that to mean that I'm going to catch you, you know, from 3 cars back. No different than if I'm better on the brakes, I want that to mean I can catch you under the brakes sooner. Where, you know, if I can only gain a foot it doesn't really matter because I'm still going to stay behind you or we're going to run into each other. My point for that with tires is that fall off is only good if I can affect it differently than others. If I just fall off at the same rate as the other guys around me, it's just boring and frustrating.
You can't even manage the tire.
Yeah. You need to be able to manage it. And sometimes when you have heat sensitive tires, like you can manage it. And sometimes when you have heat sensitive tires, you can't manage it at all. And it's frustrating because you can't do anything in traffic because, you're just at a significant disadvantage from, not having clean air being pushed on your tires. But I think there's a very fine line, and it does depend on the racetracks. Like I think we get the luxury of going to so many different extreme scenarios that you're going to ask for so many different things to where this probably isn't an easy answer. But I think anytime that you can have comers and goers, guys that, maybe they're taking a penalty at the beginning of a run to then come through, okay, let's see how the race plays out. Is it going to be a long green flag run? There's the strategy to it. No, like you see that a lot at like a track like Richmond in the NASCAR Cup Series where like, okay, I don't have the short run speed, but if this run goes long, I can maybe pit twice instead of pitting 3 times, whereas the guy's like, hey, I'm going to sell out for qualifying. I'm going to sell out for the first 20 laps of the run. And then, I'm just gonna bank on there not being cautioned so I don't get caught out, when the yellow does happen and, put us behind. So I think anytime you can have that controlled variance of okay, when do you want to use the good, whether if that's from the driver's seat pushing the car hard or even from, setup and strategy of how to push the car. So there is a fine line because just having fall off sometimes is just the viewer can't see it.
Yeah.
The viewer can't see how hard the drivers, I mean, if I can get full throttle on the straightaway because I have so much horsepower and no tire.
Yeah.
If the other guy next to me can't do it either.
Yeah, you're just going slow.
Yeah, you're just going slower.
And we've had that before at Bathurst a number of years ago where it was like the tire was so, you were just driving around at 40% and everyone was driving at 40%.
Yeah.
Right.
You couldn't push. Anytime you did push, it didn't reward. Like you were saying, you can't get a run on anyone. Yeah. You get a good exit, crack throttle, and just wheel spin, and
everyone's
you lose the
doing
run
the
anyway.
same stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Hunters, I just want to take a moment to thank one of our fantastic supporters, Shaw & Partners Financial Services. Shaw & Partners are a leading national investment advice and wealth management firm. They act for and on behalf of individuals, institutions, corporates, charities, and family offices. So, if you're looking for advice or assistance with investments or strategies, look no further than Shaw & Partners Financial Services. With a 35-year history and 8 offices strategically placed all over Australia, their financial advisors are within reach and ready to provide tailored solutions and advice. For more information, follow the link in the description of this podcast. Back to the show. What about the weather today? I mean, that was, for me, the qualifying was probably an absolute highlight. But you raised a good point tonight. I wanted to talk about the weather and the top 10 shootouts. I love a top 10 shootout. I think they're probably a little bit overused in our championship at the moment because I remember when they weren't as common, it was like, as a driver, a real sense of achievement, and it was the coolest thing because you got the track to yourself and it was only a few times a year that was an opportunity. We do them a lot, but you raised a good point tonight. Do you want to explain it? Like, I think it was a good idea, and when it rains, come a shootout.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not trying to change the sport or fix the sport, but like
sounds like you might be.
No, but like I couldn't believe today, and I'm sure today was the most extreme it's ever going to be. I guess Melbourne weather's like this all the time. It's like
pretty unique.
3 seasons in a day.
Yeah.
But like the guys I'm watching and integrated with, like Cam goes out early, Randall's in the middle of the session, and Cam goes out and it just poured down rain, so they put rain tires on, and then it looks like it's drying. So we put slicks on and they send him out and it starts raining again. And it gets worse and worse throughout the session, but like you needed rain tires on, but he had slick tires on. And then, 3 cars go later and it rains harder. And then the guys that went in the middle, like right around where Thomas went, just absolute trash track. Yep. And then 2 cars later, the sun comes out, stops raining. And then the last 3 cars have a massive advantage and back to similar, if not better than how the track was to start. But it's difficult because when you have varying conditions, like you kind of lose the wonder of the single car runs, because I love a single car run qualifying session. We do that in NASCAR every week. And there were times that we did like group qualifying sessions, and like, I love it because it's like, it is my time to shine. The track is mine. I have to go put the fastest lap down on the weekend. Yep. and it's a great time to show off your sponsors. It's a big moment. And I'm sure making the top 10 shootout and having that one lap to yourself to just go nail it is an awesome feeling. Hopefully I get to experience that. That'd be hell of a time, but we'll work on that. But if you have raining conditions, it becomes almost completely unfair. Like you might as well just have, if it's declared wet, like just have a timed session and go figure it out, because it is quite exciting to watch the lap times fall and have to keep up with the racetrack. It becomes a different challenge quite quickly when you're chasing lap time, when you're chasing conditions, and all of a sudden it becomes, you're looking for, tenths of a second here, tenths of a second there, then the track changes, the pace is going faster, the team's updating you with information, and you're just constantly updating and improving until the last final moment. So I feel like I got robbed a little bit of that today, because everyone was like changing tires and doing different things, and okay, it's dry now. You just stay out and run laps. Like that's actually almost simplifying it, makes it more exciting. Just when the conditions are the thing that's making it exciting. Like we introduced an option tire into a couple cup races. I think it was this year. Might have been this year. I don't know. Everything blends together. Anyway, but we already have like stage racing, and we have all these other things. Like we need one crazy curveball. We can't have 3 crazy curveballs. Like it gets hard to follow, hard to predict, and it becomes more of a lottery. So I think the weather today was a crazy enough curveball. And anytime you really do get weather, you're going to have that. Like the conditions are never going to stay. You're never going to have the ideal wet, the consistent drizzle, and be able to deal with it. So, but the rain definitely made things really exciting as a race fan. It'll make me respect it more the next time I'm sitting in my cup car and it starts raining, and I'm starting to dread the fact that I'm going to have to deal with all the conditions changing.
Well, I actually watched the first 2 parts of qualifying and was watching. I literally just watched the totem pole pretty much and watching cars come and finish their lap, and it just kept changing. But you're right about the shootout, because I stopped watching the shootout here at work today and went back and just checked it, because there was no like tension or who's going to improve, because once I saw the first 3, I was like, oh, okay, it's like, it is what it is. It's going to be whoever gets a dry lap or the best conditions will get pole. And that's a shame. So you're right. You can make it a 10-minute session with all cars on track. There's only 10 of them. And because Q2, I mean, that's where Triple Eight today didn't get it right. Like you can see a team run the strategy wrong. They went out on wets, then pitted, puts roaded tires on, then put the greens on. And they said they got that all wrong. They should have gone roaded, then ran greens and stayed on track and just tried to build temp and stay in the game. But that's interesting. Like that's actually quite cool. And you saw the totem constantly adjusting, and you saw a top team get that wrong. And that would have been more exciting than a top 10 shootout where it was dictated by just
completely
who had the most wet track and who didn't.
Yeah, completely agree with that, because watching qual was far more entertaining as just what you've explained, Scotty, than the shootout. Because they say you're like, it's just started raining again. Well, he's going to be rooted. Then, so I think that's a great... I've never even thought of that, but I'm with you, Austin. If the track...
We've tried to fix everything at the bar. I've never thought of that.
Well, we're going to fix this, and it's going to be Austin Cindric's fault. But
I don't want to be going pissing people off before I've ever turned a lap in the car. So
we're always upset people. We actually... I think we broke your news too. Hey, we probably upset you at the start, did we? You
did piss me off, and I have a screenshot on my phone of the graphic that you tagged me in. It says caution left foot breaker. Well, it was at that moment I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm right foot braking.
You want to know who made the graphic?
Who?
Shane. He texted to us.
Surprise.
Do you remember?
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. There's no secrets in this country when it comes to racing.
That one he sent me, and I was like, I think it was a wrong format, and I was like, I actually really think that's quite funny, because the cars were road cars. Like there was so many things wrong with it. Even the sponsor was wrong on it. And I was like, that's actually pretty funny. But it was more to be like, I don't know what it's called when you like hint towards something. There were so many things on it, because I don't think it might have had your name on it, but that was the thing, the left foot breaker. We did the same for Connor, but the Connor deal fell over, so we just look like idiots now. But the graphic I thought was hilarious. But no. I
got a good laugh out of that. No,
yeah, there we go, Shane. I've dobbed you in.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the left foot, right foot. What are you going to do when you go to Adelaide?
I'm right for braking. I'm not letting myself do it. Left foot's for clutch.
Have you right footed before?
Fabian Coulthard left footed and was successful at it. So you still can.
Yeah.
It's just it's probably a bigger, like, it's definitely blown up. Like Fabs did it and was very successful.
Well, from what I understand, with the Gen 3 car, it is much more challenging to be competitive as a left foot brake. Yeah, I can drive the car, and blip the throttle and get the down changes, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be. I've come here to have fun, enjoy the experience, but I want to be competitive, man. Like I want to make the most of this. I want to earn a reason to come back here. I want to try Bathurst one day. I want to do certain things, and I want to represent myself well. A lot of people have put a lot to make this all happen. So if there's no one out there winning races left foot braking, it makes zero sense for me to go out and think that I can be okay, especially if I was coming here and just jumping in on the race weekend and that's it, we'd probably be having a different conversation. Yeah. But because I have, a 2-day test, I get to go do the ride day. I get to figure things out. I can play with my pedal offset. Because there's a huge amount of driver comfort from what I understand that goes into right foot braking, being able to pick your master cylinders right and what really makes the most sense for you. Whereas left foot braking, you kind of just hit the brakes. All right, the car stops. I just flip the throttle. Like I can drive with any pedal setup I could, really need to left foot brake. Whereas right foot braking, I for one example, I have really big feet. Like I have to wear smaller shoes anyway to fit inside, the cockpit with just, the restrictions with the steering and the brakes and the firewall, like just getting everything comfortable to where I can, do that footwork. And it's something I've done before. It's just been a while since I've done it in a competitive setting. So I have I look at it, I have so much track time before this, or at least more than I've had for anything. Like that's the reason why I haven't really tried to dabble with doing it in the Cup car. Like I know Shane's been able to be very successful. I think he's a really, really phenomenal race car driver. I rate him super highly. I rated him highly before he came over and kicked everybody's ass on road courses. Like I have a huge amount of respect for the championship, but like I'm sure that he would also be really good if he left foot braked. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure there's also performance reasons why he does it. So, but the reason why I haven't really tried to almost risk doing it in the Cup car is because I have no time to learn all these things, and apply them. And I can't re-inspect my car because my pedals are wrong or because I installed the wrong master cylinder. So anyway, that's why I haven't really done it in the States, is because it doesn't make sense. But with the track time and the opportunity I have here, I think it's a great chance for me to, I can always revert. I can always go back. I can always say, you know what, this isn't working well. I've run terrible all weekend. I'm not comfortable. You know what, we're just going to swap things up.
Stick to what I know.
Yeah, stick to what I know and just try and maximize it. I can always do that. So I'm going in with an open mind and all that. Like I said, I've got some great people around me. Cam's going to come to the test with me. Like I said, Frosty's been a great resource for me. And there's been so many people that have even Shane's reached out and be like, man, anything you need, like, let me know. Yeah. And this is, obviously this is a competitor. Like I look at this as a great opportunity for me to learn and come back home with something I didn't have before. So Shane's been really cool about it. We've talked about it, joked about it plenty of times, but no, it's an important skill set. I think to try and understand.
Yeah. Yeah. There was definitely no offense intended. No. So I apologize if there were.
No, I totally thought it was funny.
It has become this big, like way bigger thing than needs to be with the right foot versus left foot. That's what the joke is like. Yeah. We got a NASCAR guy coming, he'll be a left footer. That's the joke. And,
well, I'm sure it's funny for you guys because you guys all do it. Yeah. Whereas in the States, we think that Shane Van Gisbergen is a Greek god. Like, there are people that can't pronounce his last name that just know him for what he does with his feet, and that's it. I mean, I think some people would find that weird. Like,
it's like I think Shane did find it. No, he's like, everyone's got an obsession with my feet.
100%.
It's a fetish in some states.
100%.
It is. I even think though the 2025 tire, it's got a lot more front grip. Well, it's a difficult one to know if it's the front grip or the rear tire is like a limiting factor, and it is a little bit more edgy. And I actually found as soon as I drove on that tire, the clutch was a really good tool. Our car used the clutch, just the lock diff and everything. The way it works, I think the clutch does help. I just say, I mean, if you do revert back to the left, Fabs is still very fast. He races the Gen 3 this year with Walkinshaw. You can make it work. I've always loved it. I think it helps with tyre wear as well. That's probably one of the big things out here, which I don't think is a big issue for you guys necessarily because you don't have the lock diff. Whereas for us, we get a lot of temperature in the rear tyre under braking if you're getting any rear lock at all. But yeah, I think the testing, you may even learn something here as well with pedal offset, how important that is. Even Will Brown, he's been in the category for a long time. When I drove the Red Bull car the first time, I like a really big offset. And so when I say that, I mean, for the listeners, the throttle pedal and the brake face, if you're a left foot braker, you could probably have them level. You know, you don't need to have them offset in distance to yourself. Whereas for me, I like to have the brake pedal really close to myself and then the throttle pedal further away. So when you have brake fade over a stint, they become kind of level. And when you blip, your heel and toe, the pedals are the same distance away from you. But that might be something in the Cup Series. If you do get comfortable with the right foot and you go, hey, I want to try it, you'll know straight away where you want to set your pedals how you want that to look, and you could rock up at a race weekend without much testing and go, I could try it confidently knowing I've done this so many times.
Yeah, no, I think that's the ideal scenario, is to at least put myself in a position to, if I want to try it, I at least have a real world experience of if I liked it, if I can do it, if I feel confident enough to do it otherwise. Because I mean, I've been plenty successful left of braking, but then you have this clear example of a guy who's, you can't ignore, the performance. And, sometimes you just have to put things to bed, just do it for the sake of doing it. And I think as a series, a lot of us are already at that point. But I think even for me, it's just kind of a good thing to broaden my horizons. Forget about the cup stuff. Like it's a good skill set to continue to work on and want to have. And it's something that can open up the playbook if
maybe
necessary.
even Bathurst as well could be an opportunity. Like you do well out here, and like you say, you take this seriously. There's opportunities that can come from our wildcard program's good for that.
Yeah.
I think, and we saw what it did for Shane too. The opportunities that came from his opportunity in the Cup Series.
Yeah, we just need more off weeks.
Yeah,
because I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
that's the problem for you guys. It's a shame that it clashes, because
maybe one day
I reckon there would be people that would get opportunities for sure.
Yeah, forget about that. You're never going to. Bathurst will always. That would have to clash.
Yeah.
Maybe Adelaide 500's on a winner here. They're just going to end up with all the Cup Series guys coming out and racing because it's the only event they can actually do. That and Sandown. Sandown's going to become a real popular one as well.
Could be.
So there we go. We've run through Sandown. We've got our final four.
Yes.
Randall finished up 7th, I think, in it.
Yep.
Cam Waters was probably, for me, I thought he would have made final four. I mean, he came out clean swept at the start of the year.
Yep.
Now, Walkinshaw, and then Matty Payne, obviously, is 5th, so he just missed out. We've said who the top 4 is. But for me, again, this weekend, Walkinshaw and Andretti United had another mechanical issue. I'm not sure if it was a cross-threaded wheel nut, but the front spindle on the left-hand side.
Yeah,
the thread was just, they had to actually re-tap the spindle and get the car back out. And they have had, I think that's 6 now for the season, mechanical issues that have put him out of a race. They're very lucky that didn't happen to Chaz yesterday.
Yeah.
Because Chaz with a DNF and a 4th or whatever wouldn't have been going through to the finals, and they would have had neither car. Like, they really need it. Walkinshaw's biggest thing is, I mean, it's great to celebrate these weekends when you have a win yesterday and you have a car in, but equally you've got to dissect what's happened because the mechanical issues are killing them.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ryan Wood, it's been when he's always up the front. Again, he was in a good spot, qualified well today.
He's a rookie, isn't he, Ryan Wood?
Second season.
So he's been pretty impressive.
Very impressive, yeah.
Very fast, yep.
Like he yesterday probably could have won that race.
That's what Chaz said in his interview. He's like, honestly, he was the better guy, throughout the whole weekend, which is I think is cool. I mean, that they have that relationship, and he feels enough to. I mean, most racing drivers wouldn't get out of the car and say, "Yeah, my teammate was better than me. Thanks for your help." Like, most of the time you just cover that up. Like, I thought it was a cool display of the relationship there. Like, it's I
think it's definitely shown Chaz's maturity this year.
Yeah,
because he's had that's been tough for him this year because Woody has been. Led that team, really. I think Chaz, without the mechanical failures, Supercars might have done the article. It was 200 points. Chaz would have been behind Ryan Wood without his mechanical failures. So I think Woody's done a good job, and I think Chaz is just acknowledging that. But that does take a level of maturity to be able to say that, and confidence as well in yourself to be able to give someone credit where it's due. Yeah. But next year they're going to Toyota. There's going to be a lot of... I heard a rumor the reason the Toyota wasn't there was it had an engine failure already, which... is not necessarily a bad thing either because it means you want to have the problem now so that you can fix it. But it is something they're going to have to work on is their reliability next year because they're going to be championship contenders again in this format.
I feel a little bit for Chaz and Woody. This might sound strange that they're going to the Toyota next year because it feels like they've just worked that Mustang package out. Like over the last 3 rounds, they've been really strong. And if it was me, I'd be like, oh shit, now we've got to go to something that's completely unknown where we've just got this thing humming.
Yeah.
And they've got constantly 2 cars qualifying really well, winning races on the podium. I'd be like, shit, now I've got to go and learn something that's completely unknown. So I actually feel from a little bit in that, like it's just bad timing that they're changing once they finally get that package sorted. So that's a bit disappointing, I guess, for the drivers. But I guess it creates opportunities, exciting. The Toyota might be a jet, but I would be a little bit like, damn.
Well, yeah, they're going to have to sort it out because they might have a fast package next year too. That Toyota could be good. Well, there's Sandown. Now, Adelaide 500 is coming up, but before we'll run through your schedule quickly. But I got to ask, when was the first time this come across your desk as an opportunity that might actually happen? And obviously, I'm sure Ford must be really the one behind it that's making it all happen. But yeah, when did that first come about, and how does this type of deal?
Yeah, I'd say early summer, some conversations started flowing like, hey, this is an idea. I'm like, yes.
I didn't even know the details.
I think my text to Mark Rushbrook was, I don't care if it's pink and has rainbows on it. As long as my name's on it, I'm there. That's probably verbatim actually, but no, it's been really cool to see it all kind of come together. And a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of meetings. Hey, how do we make this happen? What do the calendars look like? But everyone's been super welcoming with the whole thing. It didn't take long for everyone else to catch wind of all of it happening till from when the kind of conversation started. So that's been really cool. And you know, my year this year, it's funny to talk about how much racing I've been doing. You know, my year started racing the Rolex 24 in the Ford Mustang GT3. Yeah. And it's going to end in Adelaide driving the Ford Mustang Supercar. Like after driving an entire season in the NASCAR Cup Series in Ford Mustang, like the Ford Mustang has meant so much to my career. I've driven so many different types of chassis and formats and race series in that car. And to really do the 3 premier, you know, categories for Ford this year has been really special. So it's cool to kind of be part of that and experience that. I feel like my background and my experience in motorsport outside of just racing the NASCAR Cup Series definitely lends itself to that. I've always really wanted to lean on that as much as I possibly can. Obviously, schedules, we've talked about it, doesn't make it very likely, but honestly, I'd say that's the maximum of anything I could do in a year. It's been really cool for this to all come together. And like I said, I've wanted to make the most of it. I've prepared for this like it's my job. So I want to go out and, like I said, have a good time, but you know, try and be as competitive as possible. Yeah,
I think that's awesome. Well, you've actually got an opportunity here as well to really solidify your career with Ford, because there's only, there's 2 Fords, but neither of them have teammates in the playoffs. So you've actually got quite a few Fords that could play havoc for only the 2 GMs.
The last thing I want to do is make an impact on the damn championship in my first race weekend.
Could you imagine that Ford would love you for life though, wouldn't they?
Oh,
hey?
Yeah.
Imagine contributing to a Ford getting the win or something, and you're like, "Hey, Mark, any other opportunities coming up in the future?" It's like, "Of course."
Yeah, that's probably not in my best interest. But no, it'd be cool. It's cool that I get to be there for the actual championship round.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is like, I don't even want to be a caution that impacts the race. You know, just
it'd be the worst feeling, wouldn't it?
It'd be the worst feeling in the world.
We've had that question come through, and that's why I brought it up, because it is to silence. That's not something any of us would want to be a part of. And also, of course, you drive for manufacturers and everything, but you just morally wouldn't want to be contributing to the outcome of this championship. So the answer to it would be, I mean, I'm sure it's no.
It's a hard no.
Exactly. So anyone listening thinking that this was an opportunity for Ford or anything, there's no way. Like, there's no one's going to be doing that.
Yeah, and you even saw it in NASCAR. Like the manufacturer support you guys have over there is so much bigger than what it is here. And you even saw at Phoenix, William Byron go and apologise to Denny, who's in a Toyota.
Yeah.
And William Byron's a Chev driver, and he was even like, "Oh, I'm sorry that." And like, it's even bigger over there. So it just shows that doesn't even cross the minds of the drivers, does it, of interfering with that sort of stuff, even though there's big...
maybe not NASCAR.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you guys obviously work together well, but that shows that even for William to say... Because otherwise you'd be like... And his teammate won.
I guess because of a mechanical, though, which is you'd feel bad for that, but... Like, you're not going to move over for a Chev.
I'm not saying you're moving over.
No. But at the end of the day, if I'm racing Will Brown for a position on the racetrack in Adelaide, I've done a lot for my career. That, I mean, think about it. I mean, you really think I'm going to go race for a position with Will Brown?
Yeah. I'd like to think you would, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be sick. Be sick, but I'm not going to sit here and realistically think that that's what's going to go out and happen. Like,
if it did, though, you'd be like, "Well, I've got nothing to lose. This punk does."
Yeah, no,
elbows up.
That's for sure. Like, I'm not a spot that he needs to pass unless it's in front of me. But yeah, that's way too much speculation for me to even really comment on. But yeah, no, it's definitely not why I'm here. I'm here to get the experience, get some awareness for the series, and just I think anytime you can have crossover in motorsports, it's so much fun. I mean, you look at this is obviously a much smaller scale, one with me, the driver, but also the race event, like Kyle Larson going and running the Indy 500. Like, who didn't love that?
Yeah.
Like, that's a win for Fernando Alonso running the Indy 500. Who does not love that? So I think the response would be the same way if somebody came and did the Daytona 500 or, vice versa. One of our guys comes in, does Adelaide or Bathurst or, somebody goes runs Le Mans, like an IndyCar driver or a NASCAR driver or even a Supercars driver. Like that's awesome. Everybody, that's the meme. Everybody liked that. You know? That's what this is all about. And I'm as competitive as they come, but I'm here for the experience for sure.
Yeah, I think it's great that you're taking such a serious approach to it, because there's a lot of people that are tuning in and excited. And I think it's nice as well that talking to you tonight before the pod about how much respect that our category does have outside of Australia as well. I think everyone knows how competitive this is. You're coming in under no illusion. I mean, we had, not to use Will as the example again, but he won the championship last year and qualified 17th today. We are sitting in a very competitive championship.
Yeah.
So the expectation has to be realistic. But yeah, I think, Tickford's had fast cars there. I think you can do really well. Quickly though, the format. So you've got one practice session just 30 minutes before qualifying. This is very different for us in Adelaide.
Yeah,
So
normally they love practice. So I feel for you because you're coming in and they're like
10 more minutes than I get most weeks.
True. But one luxury you've got is you've got a 32 lapper on Friday. So Friday now there's an extra race. So it's 3 across the weekend, which is another box ticked, I think, for Supercars with the format, because it means that the championship's going to be decided over 3 events rather than just 2. So a better percentage, I think, for that. But yeah, 32 laps I think would be great for you to get, you
blow the cobwebs out, mate.
put your body through.
I think it is just a nice long run practice, really.
Yeah. 30 minutes, that's going to be tough. And then quali race. But then Saturday is back to our 78 lapper. So you get qualifying, top 10 shootout, 78 laps, and then Sunday is the same format. So yeah, I think in terms of race laps, that Friday race is perfect for you. It's nice to run your body through a heat cycle. Some
Get
fans
a race start too
Yeah, true.
under your belt, because obviously rolling starts in NASCAR. When's the last time you did a standing start, mate?
When I raced rallycross, 4-wheel drive and a handbrake.
So a little bit different again.
Yeah.
You got a handbrake, a line locker.
I was happy to know that the line lock, because I was like, man, if I qualify in the back and I'm like in a hill somewhere and like I'm just gonna,
Start rolling.
yeah, just lay 11s down as I leave the line.
Sydney's a bit like that. Actually, Bathurst is like that.
There are a few tracks.
Bathurst is like this. So like if you're at the back, it's great. If you're in the middle, it's pretty good. At the front, it can be quite uphill, and you'll see the front guys bog a lot. But Adelaide's flat. You should be fine.
Yeah, no, I've done a lot of research on the standing. Actually, today when we did Sandown, like I made sure to watch. Like I said, I found a spot on the front lawn and like watch the light sequence, watch the drivers, understand what the settings are, because like nothing would be worse than actually going out and like performing well in qualifying,
Stalling.
and then stalling or having a shit start and just completely getting
Imagine
blown
that.
off.
You make the
It'd be
shootout.
awful.
The coolest thing ever, and then just lay 11s and lose 8 spots off the line.
Yeah.
I stalled at Winton in Super 2 off the front row in the reverse top 10.
Oh, you did too.
And it was I was in a good car. It was a good opportunity to win like that reverse top race. And I stalled it. I was like,
I remember that. I was in that race.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So it's super embarrassing. So don't do that.
No, but it's there's so many, just highlights so many details that are so different, which is why I'm approaching with zero expectations, because there's to your point, there's so much that's going to happen in such a short amount of time on the weekend that I really just want to do all the laps. It's the street circuit. Like, I mean, really easy to make mistakes, really easy to make damage. I mean, I have one car for my ride day for, I'm used to having backup cars and, a whole slew of things that can fix all the problems. And one of the things that Shane said to me when he talked about his first experience as NASCAR is like, you guys drive these things like they're disposable.
I remember reading that. He said that to someone. I was like, that is classic. He said when there was the crash at Daytona.
Yeah, we just drive straight through it.
Straight through it.
Yeah.
He's like, I naturally just lifted like instinctively. It's like, oh. And then he said, I just got cars coming past me and I finished like 8 spots down. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So anyway, my car's not disposable. I have one for 3 races. I got to take care of it.
Yeah.
Pretty good on the welders here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can rebuild a race car.
They've fixed some tin cans.
I'd like to not see that.
Let's not.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that on you, but
I don't need to see that at work. I trust you.
I'll give you one tip, and it's not from me, so don't worry. But the tip would be to speak to Frosty about his starts, because he was always very good at them, and I was teammates with him for a while. I struggled with my starts. I always went for, and I won't say what Frosty's procedure is, but I always was either like great or it would be a shocker. It was like it'd either grip up and I'm away, or I'd sit there laying 11s. And I remember Frosty's starts were great, and I ended up going to a test day, and we just focused on those for one of our sessions. And I went to what he does, and it definitely, not to give Frosty too much credit, definitely helped me, and I feel much more consistent. So his starts are great, and he has a very unique way of doing them. So he's a good one to talk to. But honestly, mate, good luck. It's been a really cool opportunity that you were here, and great to catch up anyway as well for dinner before the pod and sit down here and chat tonight for a bunch of our listeners to listen to, I guess, a very different debrief with a very special guest.
Bit of a debrief, pre-brief, and obviously a guest pod. But, mate, yeah, all the best. I'm going to be driving past Talonbit on Wednesday. I might sneak in and see how you're going. I might go stand on a hill.
Yeah.
Do a bit of...
Bring it on.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. This is half the reason I said yes was to take the piss at Corey LaJoy, because he's been asking me to come on his podcast a long time. And I saw Flores called you guys like the Australian stacking pennies.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a complete discredit to y'all's podcast.
Well, thanks.
No, I know both those guys
There's our
pretty
new
well.
intro.
Yeah, no, I know both those guys pretty well. So it's just never worked out to with the timing and the schedule to do Corey's thing. They do a great job, but no, it's cool to jump on, cool to catch up to, and obviously pick your brain on kind of what I'm in for, because everyone's been super welcoming, and this has been such a fun opportunity to get prepped for. And yeah, we're hours away from me getting to actually drive the car for the first time. So I'm going to go to bed with a smile on my face and wake up, put my shoes on, and know that I'm driving a race car tomorrow.
I'll be out there on track with you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, stay away.
Good. Yeah, he told me he's good. I've got one rear bar. Don't use it tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, good luck. Excited to see how you go, man. Thank you very much.
Good luck, man.